Going. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Healy for Beginners and Beyond for Thursday, April 4th, 2024. That's 4/4/24 today. I'm your host, Jake Barron, head of operations for the Americas. And I have my amazing co-host, engineer, and independent Healy World member, Ken Close, that you all know and love. And we have got quite the agenda for you today. Let's run through this real quick before we get started. But first, we're going to start by what's on everybody's minds these days, the Cosmic Growth Program, which is amazing. We're going to share some details about that, about the Fibonacci sequence, how the program actually works inside the app for those of you that have it already. For those of you that don't, you'll see it for the first time, some of these screenshots. And then how to check if you have it already. Maybe it's there and you didn't even know it. So we'll talk about that to start. Talk about some of the updates to the Healy 2 app. Those just went live within the last few weeks. There's some very cool stuff that was added there. Same thing with the updated HealAdvisor app. There's been some great optimizations related to the Healy demo experience, and we'll briefly touch on those. And then we're going to spend a bit of time on the MagHealy water application. You know, we've had a lot of questions recently about this great water application that's included with the MagHealy Professional, or you can subscribe to it with the MagHealy Classic. So we're going to talk about some of those questions, just an overview of best practices on using it, and then some hydration tips as well. And then we're going to close with some news on live chat. That's something that we added several months ago now, actually late last summer. But there are some enhancements we've made to that as well. And also for those of you that haven't ever had a tech support via Zoom with our team, we made some updates to that and make it more efficient as well. So we got a lot to cover today, but it's a lot of great information. It's going to be useful for everybody now and going forward through the rest of the year here as well. So let's get right into this. We're going to start here by, as we always do, going through our Healy World disclaimers. Of course, read through these. And then also these are available on our Healy World shop, each of the shops in your individual country, whether in US, Mexico, Canada, or anywhere else around the world watching this. And then we will get right into cosmic growth. Okay, so this was, since middle of March, really. March 15th is when this new Healy Cosmic Growth program started to be added to devices around the world. And Marcus Schmiko was on Frequencies and Friends back in March, kind of explaining the reason behind, why we came up with this Healy Cosmic Growth program. That recording is available on our YouTube channel at HealyAmericas.com if you want to catch what Marcus said about this particular program. But today, Ken and I are going to talk a little bit more about the Fibonacci sequence, then also show how it looks inside of the app itself. So, first of all, I think, Ken, when you first heard about the Healy Cosmic Growth program and the Fibonacci sequence, how this is incorporated into it, what were your initial thoughts on this?
Well, so I thought, okay, cosmic growth, it's got to be some huge universal content, right? Something maybe there'd be some complexity to it. Maybe there'd be some, that's what I kind of was thinking, that there would be some interesting quantum entanglement things. But I mean, it's very simple, right?
Yeah, and that's what we're gonna talk about here. A lot of people maybe since we talked about the Cosmic Growth program, maybe they've read about what the Fibonacci sequence is, and really, when it comes down to it, it's very simple. It's not complex. It's of course the rhythmic patterns of the universe are all related to the Fibonacci sequence, but it's very powerful, but very simple, which makes it a very cool addition to the Healy program family, really. We've shared this slide several times now over the last few weeks, dating back to last month's Frequencies and Friends. But it's everywhere in the universe. Everything from the way that plants grow, to the way that the human bodies form, to the way that shells are formed, to the way that the DNA's the structure of DNA of everything is related to this. The width and the height, or the length and the width of the DNA double helix is all exactly according to this golden ratio. So it's everywhere. And and when I first let me switch over to the next slide, actually kind of show some of those things we talked about, the plants and the flowers and the seashell and the human ear, that kind of thing. A lot of the other things you see in nature as well all have this incorporated into it. And it says it beautifully in in this flyer. I love this flyer. This is available to download in your back office, also in Healy Academy as well. But it's a symbol of the intrinsic beauty and balance in the universe and within us. I mean, that's really what this comes down to. And it's the numerical pattern, of course, of the Fibonacci sequence, starting with 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. Of course, it's all explained here, and we're going to show it in the app itself too. But just keep in mind, for anybody that is still waiting for this program, I know we've been talking a lot about it, and if you don't have it yet, it's like, come on, come on, come on. When am I going to get this program on my Healy device? Or you might have multiple Healy devices, like a lot of us do, and you only have it on one of the devices so far, and the other ones haven't had it added yet. So, we mentioned when we first started releasing this on March 15th, the entire process to get this added to the hundreds of thousands of Healy devices around the world could take up to 2 months. A lot of you have received it already, but we're going to show here first, before we get into the actual screenshots of the app. Okay, so if you haven't checked your app recently, first of all, you're probably going to need to download the update, which we're going to show here. But if you have and didn't know what we're talking about here, it's in bioenergetic support. So that's that same program group where coherence is located. I know that's a very popular program in the Healy world family around the world. But you just open up your Healy 2 app, go to bioenergetic support, and then if you already have it updated and available on your device, you will see that Cosmic Growth program listed there. If you haven't updated your Healy app in a while, so this is what you're going to want to do to manually check for updates. Sometimes when you open up your Healy 2 app, there might be a banner at the top of the screen, which we're going to show here as well on the next slide, that says, update now to the new configuration. But if you just want to go in right now, maybe you don't have it on this call, maybe you haven't checked in a while, open up your Healy 2 app and follow these instructions to manually check for it. It could be that it's sitting there waiting, and it will be about to pop up during this call as well. So open up your Healy 2 app, go to settings, and then click on My Healy at the top here. And then where you see program version, you'll see there's a number here. And then to the right of it, there's an arrow. If you click on that arrow, that initiates the process to manually check to see if there's any updated program versions available for your specific Healy device. So after you click that arrow, you see on the right here, this is, of course, a still image, but it spins. The circle starts to spin, and that's showing that it's checking for an update. And then if you do happen to have an update, on this next screen here, this is what it would look like. So after you click that arrow, the circle spins around for a couple seconds, and if there is an update available, the button will appear that says update. That, of course, is one way to update it. If at this point you were to close out your Healy 2 app and open it back up, the main screen you come to, at the very top, there'd be a banner you see here on the second screenshot. It says a new configuration for your Healy is available. Do you want to download it? And you can click update now. So whether you click update now from the My Healy section or update now from the program group section, it's going to accomplish the same thing. And it's going to load that new program version onto your device. And then you're going to get a confirmation that says update completed. And then you'll see here, this is kind of just an interesting point here. after the update is complete, you'll see the last two numbers of the program version. On the far left here, it was 13, and then now it's 14. So anytime you update your program version on your device, it goes to the next number in the sequence. And that kind of varies depending on how many updates you've had on your particular Healy device. But that's another way to confirm also that it has been loaded onto your device. I'm at the next program version. Everything is complete there. So as far as what it actually looks like in the app itself, and Ken, we were talking about this the other day. I don't know what I was expecting, but I guess I had no expectations coming into this. I read about the Fibonacci sequence, but as far as what that translated to, as far as the frequencies that are actually going to be sent via this program, I guess I didn't even really put two and two together here. But it starts at 1 hertz. You'll see here for everybody, the first frequency that runs is 1 hertz, and then I'm watching it because in a lot of our Healy programs, it might change every 10 seconds or something like that. Switches to the new frequency in the sequence and kind of rotates through. And I'm watching my app, and it's 1 hertz. 10 seconds has passed. 20 seconds has passed. 30 seconds has passed. And it isn't until it gets to the 1 minute mark that it changes to the next frequency. And what would that next frequency be? 2 hertz. So there you go. You have the 0, 1, which equals 1. And then you have the 1 and 1, which equals 2. And then, another minute passes. And then, what's 1 plus 2? 3. Okay. So here we go. And then it continues on like that. 2 hertz plus 3 hertz, 5 hertz. 3 hertz plus 5 hertz, 8 hertz. So it is exactly the Fibonacci sequence in numbers, but applied as frequencies. So, Ken, was there anything of note that you kind of, when you first ran this, what were you sort of thinking here?
Yeah, well, so the thing normally what we're exposed to or used to with Healy and the pink app, the Healy 2 app, running these microcurrent programs, we're used to some kind of a interface where it's looking at our resonant frequency and then looking and choosing particular frequencies for our body because we're the one connected to it, and then giving us a progress report, right? So it's kind of one of those things where we're used to seeing this individual interaction with Healy. This one is exactly its name, cosmic growth. It's the entire the entire species, right? The entire planet is it's for literally a much bigger, more broad audience. So it's not looking at just you, right? It's looking at how you become aligned with it. So in other words, it's working on you becoming more aligned with the cosmos, with this Fibonacci series, and the way that things naturally flow within this universal principle. So it's an interesting shift, a little bit of a change, where we may be looking for some kind of a feedback or an interface as an individual. Like it's just, this is about me right now, you guys, right? But it's really not. It's actually cosmic growth, meaning that we are growing within this larger universal principle.
Yeah, that was one of the cool things for me is that it's simple to understand. A lot of times you're seeing these frequencies, you're like, why is it giving me this frequency? We have great videos in Academy that explain what Ken was just talking about. Why, when it's sort of reading your bioenergetic field, why is it giving you certain frequencies versus another person that might be running the same program is giving them different frequencies. When it comes to Cosmic Growth Program, it's the same for everybody. This isn't Healy reinventing the Fibonacci sequence. This is just Healy's Healy's take on the Fibonacci sequence as far as we're applying these numbers as far as the frequency goes in that exact sequence. So yes, the frequency part is unique to us, but there's no reason to change Fibonacci sequence. It's the same for Ken, it's the same for me, it's the same for everybody around the world that is running this particular program. So if you were to continue on, of course, we were just at 8, so 8 and 5 is 13, 8, 13, 21, and so on and so on. I'm not going to go through the whole sequence here, but you see here, again, on this next slide, the entire program is 29 minutes. So it is one of our shorter programs that we currently offer, and it starts at 1 hertz, ends at 832 kilohertz. So, and then as I mentioned, each frequency runs for 1 minute before it switches to the next number in the Fibonacci sequence and applies that number as that particular frequency. You'll see here on the bottom left, these are all of the 29 frequencies that are delivered in the course of this particular program here. So yeah.
Let's ask the question real quick. I mean, why would you run this program? Looking at the principles of the Fibonacci series, looking at how that alignment works throughout all of nature and how things are made, including, as Jake said, genetic, the coding, the way that spiral works. So why would you use this? One of the biggest advantages, I suppose, would be an alignment factor. How many of us feel a bit disconnected in our lives from maybe your community, your environment, the planet itself, our goals, our health, or maybe we're misaligned a bit. And so to go back to the principles, now I'm a martial arts instructor. I've taught for decades, and we start every day with the fundamentals, the basics, the principles. And as an engineer, I teach principles too. So we need to know the way to get back to the base. And this is a great way to do it, where we can just realign this body with our environment, with anything that's going on in our lives, including the world or the whole cosmic environment, and then get back to basics. So super great usefulness. I've ran it probably, I don't know, I got it pretty early on. And as Jake said, I do have a couple of Healys. Not all of my Healys have it yet. So it's like, I do have one that has it. So definitely use it.
Yeah, Ken, you had it before me. We were on Tech Tip Tuesday and Ken happened to have it. I was still waiting. But we did have some people that actually got it by manually checking for the updates. So that's why we wanted to point that out early on there, is that maybe you haven't done that recently. And if you're anxiously waiting for it, keep checking for updates, because it could be any day now if you don't have it yet. But also, there was for those looking for more on the Fibonacci sequence and cosmic growth, Pamela Vita did an excellent training on What's Up Wednesday last week. We didn't have What's Up Wednesday this week because of frequencies and friends, but last week, and that recording is available on our YouTube channel. It was in Spanish, but for those of you that caught it live, there was a translation into English. But there's also some really great, even if you're not able to understand the exact audio, there's some great visuals as well that went along with it that are cool to review too, as far as how the Fibonacci sequence actually appears in nature. So definitely check that out. And then, Ken, I forgot to mention also, we're going to go into this next slide here, but Anthony from our tech support team is helping out in the chat today. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the call. Thank you so much, Anthony, for being here. And this next slide is going to get a lot of people excited, I think. So, giveaway time. For those of you that were on Frequencies and Friends, you saw how popular this giveaway was. This is a great book called An Internal Golden Braid, related to, of course, you see here, the underlying themes of recursion, symmetry, and intelligence. Basically the works of all these different great people that we have on the book here. And so, yeah, go ahead. Those of you that are on the call, comment in the chat, #cosmicgrowth. And we will just wait a minute here. Ken, first to go there. So we will pick one from the chat here as far as this goes. So Ken, if nobody else puts their name in here, okay, I'll just say.
There you go.
We'll pick one. So I'm gonna hold my mouse over, leave it fixed here, and in 5 seconds I'm gonna come back, and whatever one is pointing on, that will be the first winner of this great book. So 5, 4, 3.
Put it in there, Cosmic Growth.
2,
Come on.
1. Okay, Leslie Ramirez, you are the first winner here. If you could, Leslie, if you get a chance, or Anthony, if you could reach out to her via the chat here to get her contact information here so we can get a book sent out to her. Awesome.
Nice work.
All right. Thanks you. Thank you, everyone. All right. So we wanted to open up with cosmic growth. It's the #1 trending topic now, but we have a ton of other great things to cover on this call today. So we're going to switch over to, this is something we did talk about on Frequencies and Friends as well, but we're just going to talk a little bit or show a little bit more detail on this. The Healy current level switch used to only be able to do that in the HealAdvisor app. You would go in there, you would change it, and then you would have to wait about an hour, and then go into your Healy 2 app, load the new configuration, and go from there. It is now available, as we see here, in the actual Healy app. And we're going to show you here step by step how to do this. It's very simple. You just open up your Healy 2 app, go to settings. You go to MagHealy again. We just showed this screen earlier, but instead of going to the program version, you just go right to the current level. You click on the current level, and then a pop-up appears that looks like this. You can do low or high. You pick whichever current level that you want, and then you click next. So let's just say you're going from low to high. You select high, and then you're going to get these 2 pop-ups here, or 2 windows. The first one pops up. It says, do you want to change the current level of your Healy? It explains about sensitivity to microcurrent, that kind of thing. You have to check the box to continue. And then once you do that, that's the very last window on the right here pops up. It explains that it can take about an hour for it to be updated there. And then you just click yes. And then at that point, you would see this. So after you click that and click yes, okay, you see the current level where it said whether it was low or high before. When it's in the process of updating, it says in progress. So that means it's, okay, I requested it, but it's not quite ready yet. So as we mentioned before, it can take up to an hour, but you did this live on Tech Tip Tuesday a few weeks ago. It took a couple minutes, like 2 minutes, something like that. I've done it a few times now. It seems to be within 5 minutes is pretty common, but it really depends, of course, on your connection as well. But if you do this in general, I would say just wait 5 minutes, wait 5 or 10 minutes, and then go back. And if your app is still open, as we showed earlier, to manually check for updates, you click that arrow next to the program version. Or if you were to hard close your app and come back in, that update configuration message might be at the top of your screen there on the main page. But if you click the arrow and that update button pops up there, then you'll know that everything's good. The update has been completed and your device configuration has now been changed to whichever current level that you selected there. And again, same thing here, as I showed earlier, Ken, the program version, it went from 0.12. After this update, it went to 0.13. Then you saw earlier on the screen, this was kind of back in time, but it went from 0.13 to 0.14 because I also did another manual update related to this as well. So it's a very simple process. It's so much more convenient now having this in the Healy 2 app, which is where it matters because the current level only applies to the Healy 2 app. So check this out. If you want to if you're at low current now and want to see what high current is, it's very easy to switch from one to the other or back to the original 2. If you're just curious, if you say you're on high current and want to see, do I feel any sort of sensation at low current? Go ahead and try it out. It's very simple. It's easy to go back and forth. So worth trying out. And then this is something that hasn't been announced globally yet, but this actually already started. So there's a new default current level for the Healy device. For the last, probably at least 2+ years, all Healy devices ship by default at the low current level. Really the reasoning behind that was that there's some people that are more sensitive to microcurrent than others. And we basically said, okay, you have the option to switch to high current if you would like, but it would ship at low current. And what we found, well, there's really a couple things here. Almost everybody changes it to high current anyway. So I don't know the exact percent, but it's a extremely high percent of people switch over to the high current setting anyway. But then also, now that you're able to switch the current level very easily within the Healy 2 app, this kind of enabled us to just go ahead and change the default from low to high, which when most people get their device now, they don't need to do anything because it's at the level that they actually would use it at anyway. So Ken, you have a little bit of a historical context on this because you've been with Healy since before the beginning, where there wasn't two options for current level, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the beginning, there were no adjustments in the high to low range. So basically what this high and low range means is that Healy created a default microcurrent scale. It's still, microcurrent is still within the milliamps. So it's a very low amount of current anyway that it puts out, and it has to be within that range. But what they did was they found that even some people were sensitive to that, but initially it was, there was no adjustments. You just, on the app itself, you could change the percentage of the level. Of course, you can go all the way down to 0. Now, but remember that when you adjust your current level manually on the app, that's just changing the amplitude of the microcurrent, which is the carrier wave for the frequency. You're not changing the frequency at all. The frequency is the same. It's just the amplitude of the microcurrent that's carrying it into your body increases. And if you put it to 0, you're still going to get the frequency, but there's just no microcurrent. And you'll see the note or the message come across your screen on your app saying that frequencies are still being transmitted, but there is no microcurrent flow. But yeah, when I started, there was no adjustment. And there was some people that was discovered that microcurrent therapy was, they were sensitive to it. And so Healy put a kind of a governor when it went to low. You still have the scale from 0% to 100%. It's just that it lowered the maximum output, right? In terms of, and it didn't lower it in half. It just lowered it a percentage so that 0 to 5%, from 0 to 5% was a smaller jump, right? So still, you're going to be able to adjust that even in high. And what normally happens is people start using Healy and they've never used microcurrent before, and the body that's sensitive becomes acclimated, I guess you might say. And you'll find that eventually they may turn that up to high anyway. So great stuff, right?
Yeah, definitely. And Anthony's all over the chat. Thank you so much for answering these questions. But yeah, this is in the Healy 2 app. This is related to the microcurrent. Is not related to anything to do with the Analyze app there. And then there was a question here also, Ken, we'll go ahead and discuss it real quick. Does it matter feeling the microcurrent? And no, as long as you're getting that frequency wave flowing on your screen and not the text that says the frequency is generated but no currents flowing, as long as you're getting the wave and not the text, you're good. You don't need to feel it. And Ken, we've talked about this many times that less is more, that actually feeling it can be a negative because your body's pushing back against this sensation.
Right. And you want to make sure that that's down, because when our awareness goes to the wristbands and the sensation, we move the body into some percentage or some degree of fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system. And we don't want that. We want the body to be at rest and digest. We want it to be in repair, recovery, and growth phase. And so to be able to feel it is not the goal. And there's a sweet spot. So sometimes you would adjust that current up to where you just barely feel it and then click it back just one notch back to where you don't. And I also want to advise you guys that some frequencies you will feel more than others. Typically frequencies below about 400 hertz, you're going to feel them more. So you're going to want to make your adjustments and pay attention to the app and make those adjustments based on the lower frequencies, so that if it switches to a much lower frequency, all of a sudden you don't get this, this hyper sensation of this current flow. So take a peek at it. You'll get to know this system. Most of you guys here are probably experts anyway. So there you go.
Yeah, this is not a case of no pain, no gain. It's a case of less is more here at Healy. So, yeah. Okay. Moving on to HealAdvisor app updates. The newest version 1.12.6, mainly related to optimizations and the Healy demo experience. For those of you that haven't checked out the Healy demo experience yet, highly recommend it. It's very easy to do. You go to your HealAdvisor app, and then we did a whole training on this on one of the Healy for Beginners and Beyond later last year. Those recordings are available on our YouTube channel, HealyAmericas.com. But you essentially toggle on demo mode from where you used to go to change the current of your Healy device. There's a demo button, toggle on and off. And then from there, it basically starts you, if you close out of your HealAdvisor app and open it back up, it's as if you were loaning your Healy device to somebody brand new to give them a demo experience. It's a 7-day guided journey where they can pick different topics from sleep to energy to well-being, that kind of thing. And each day it recommends, well, the first 6 days, it does basically a survey, an activity, one program to run with microcurrent in the Healy 2 app, and then a video at the end. And on the 7th day, is basically a summary of their experience, and then it guides them through picking which Healy edition is right for them, depending on what they're looking to get out of it. So it's really cool. Even if you don't have anyone to loan your Healy, a Healy to right now, it's fun to go through it because it's kind of, there's some great activities along the way, whether they're breathing activities or exercise or that kind of thing, that guides you through all that. So I highly recommend it, even just for your own onboarding, your own experience. It's fun to go through there. And that way, if you were to loan it out to somebody at some point in the future, you would see what they're going through. But the biggest improvement, which I love, is that before, when we first launched this, as I mentioned, it's a 7-day guided journey. And it was exactly 7 days. So if you started on a Monday and did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, let's say, and then, oh, the weekend's almost here, I had plans, I couldn't get around to it, and you didn't come back to it till the following Monday, it was already over. It had already gone through and said, okay, you missed days 5, 6, and 7. We're now at day 8, and it would already be on the last day. There was a way to go back and look at previous days, but it wasn't the same experience where it would guide you through each of the activities. So this is the biggest change, the biggest improvement, is that it no longer does that. It's based off your progression in the journey itself, not just based off the number of days, essentially. So if you start on Monday, day 1, you do day two on Tuesday. Let's say you miss Wednesday and Thursday. On Friday, you open the app back up. It's at day 3. It's not a day 6, because you didn't miss those days. So it's a more realistic as far as kind of how everyone's lives are. Everyone has lots going on. Everyone's busy, and it's very easy to miss a day. So this it's a better experience overall, where you complete it on basically your own schedule, without it automatically skipping forward. So, and there was also some improvements to the Healy configurator at the end, and also some animation updates as well, which are very cool. It's a fun app, fun experience to go through. And this is in the HealAdvisor app itself. And you can check that recording on our Healy for Beginners and Beyond from, I'll see if I can find which month it was here, but it was late last year, and you'll be able to see it on our playlist for Healy for Beginners and Beyond. So, all right, Ken, let's talk about water and hydration. So it's getting hot in a lot of places around the country here. A lot of people are spring is here as of a couple of weeks ago. And just I think it was on March 22nd was March 22nd was World Water Day. So there's lots of talk about water. We've been getting a lot of questions about the MagHealy water application on Tech Tip Tuesday each week. So we thought we'd do a little segment here just on the water application. You'll see here on the screen, these are the 24 quantum analyzed frequency programs that for informing drinking water that come with the water application. So for those of you that want the Healy Professional, the water application, these 24 programs are included. If you have a MagHealy Classic, you can subscribe to the water application module as well. Or you can just upgrade to Professional. Actually, a good time to mention it. In this month, whenever we have an upgrade promo, it typically excludes the MagHealy upgrade from Classic to Professional. But a couple times a year, we open it up to MagHealy as well. And right now, if you do have any MagHealy Classics, you can upgrade them to Professional at 60% off, which is a great deal going on right now. That's available in the shop until the end of the month. But I just wanted to mention that for those of you that maybe have a Classic and want to get that water module. But these are very simple to use. Each program is 10 minutes long and is recommended to run at 100% intensity. It's the question also is, okay, if I inform my water, how quickly do I need to drink it? The sooner the better, because it's over time, the impact lessens and lessens. Definitely within 12 hours at most, but it's not like at 12-hour mark, all the benefits completely disappear. It's just, to have the biggest impact, you're going to want to do it within there. I'm drinking some water right now that I activated with the energy program that you see here in water activation too. I did this about an hour ago, so perfectly fine to still be drinking that water there, Ken.
Remember that water has a memory to it. So like Jake's talking about utilizing or drinking the water within 12 hours. The water has its original memory as well. And then you're informing it with new information. And then there's environmental influence on the water. And remember, we're mostly water too. So there's influence on us as well, the water within our body. So by utilizing the water within a shorter period of time that you've infused the frequencies means that it's going to remain, that memory is going to remain in the water, where other information, it's still being given to the water at all times. If we could see all frequencies with the visual eye, if we could see them, we wouldn't be able to see across the room. We wouldn't even be able to see our hand in front of our face because there's so much information in the form of frequencies moving around our universe, around our planet, and around our environment. So all the water is being informed all the time. And so it's this gives a very specific, distinct pattern to the water right now. And so it's a good idea to utilize it right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. To me, this is one of the most fun modules that we have because it's interactive. Of course, all of our devices are you're wearing something, applying something, but it's the being able to consume something that was informed for a specific purpose. It's like we drink water every day. Why not drink water that's informed for a specific purpose? It adds a little bit more fun to your everyday experience here. And it only takes 10 minutes. It's very easy to do. It's kind of a fun thing to demonstrate as well. If you were out somewhere and put the MagHealy next to it and you're like, well, what are you doing with this, with this water? It's a very cool thing to use in a group setting as well. So yeah, and it's especially with, how chronically dehydrated most of everyone in this country is. Doing something like this where it's okay, yeah, I'm going to get on a habit of informing water with energy in the morning and maybe in the afternoon with after stress, and then I'm going to do some sleep water before I go to bed. It's kind of just once you start to do it and incorporate it into your routine, it really is fun and has a big impact on your life.
There's another aspect to this too. There's a question here about can you inform the water with multiple programs? And the answer is yes. When I work on a performance level of anything with anyone is that, if you change your diet every day, how do you know what works, right? I mean, you got a different diet today than you did yesterday. And by the end of the week, you're going, wow, I don't see any results. Or you see huge results and you go, well, which one of those did it for me? So when you're informing water with multiple programs, just be cautious or be mindful that you're giving a lot of information or content to this water that you're ingesting. And then if you have an outcome, maybe you feel worse in some way because it's detoxing you and you're going, wow, wait a minute, something didn't work. Well, maybe it did work. It's just that you didn't know that it worked that way. So it's really hard to be very diligent about what's happening to you when you're giving a lot of information. And also know the body has its own intelligence. It will essentially regulate. If you're giving it a whole bunch of stuff and the body's like, this is a little bit too much, my bandwidth is a little low. Or if you as a mental self, your emotional state is out of whack, the body's going to probably discount some of the content. So I always say, get the emotions set right, get the psyche set right, and then, it's going to align the body.
Yeah, thanks. I love that, Ken. Yeah, it's especially since these programs only take 10 minutes. It's very easy to just do a couple different ones throughout the day rather than trying to combine them into one master cocktail sort of a thing.
Well, we're also a lot of times we're dehydrated, right? But there is a quota for our bodies per day, and it's the general quota is half your body weight in ounces of water. So if you're 100 or let's say you're 100 pounds, that's 50 ounces of water a day. If you're more athletic, it's going to require more. If we carry a little bit more body weight than we should, it's going to require more. So if we're dehydrated and let's just say we're informing an 8-ounce glass of water and that's all we're drinking today, that's going to be the least of our problems. That's going to be the least of we are dehydrated and all kinds of other systems are having struggle. So half your body weight in ounces of water on a daily basis. And I'm talking about, a good quality, good purified water is the way to go.
Yeah, and also, the last point on this slide here is just, place the MagHealy, the bottom of the MagHealy as close as possible to the water. So, a lot of times when we're doing this, we kind of see, okay, like I have my glass of water here. It's got a little bit of space at the top. You just rest it on top because it's easy. It sits there. You don't have to worry about holding it. But really, for maximum impact, you see having the side of the MagHealy against the biggest volume of the water is going to have the biggest impact, the most powerful impact versus sitting on top where there's space between it. It still does have an impact. It's just not as powerful versus doing it directly to the side. So of course it's not as convenient. Having some sort of holder here would be ideal, or put it against the wall. Put the MagHealy against the wall, and then put the glass against it. That's an easy way to have it sit up, resting against it. It can also different shapes of bottles too. Some bottles are very narrow, right, at the top, and they're wider at the bottom. So if you put it on the top, you're quite a bit of ways away from the biggest volume of the water there, versus keeping it on the side.
Yeah, we're looking at surface area in fusion, right? We're looking at surface area. So if when a magnetic wave comes out of Healy or from the coil, MagHealy or of the coil, when you're converting this into magnetic wave and you have a magnetic wave emitting from anything, it goes out in a spherical pattern, right? A spherical pattern. So even if this magnetic wave is directional, and directional means that the transmitter is designed to only go one direction. It's still going to propagate out into the space in a sphere, in an arc, right? And it's up and down, left and right. And so if you want to maximize the surface area content with that spherical wave, then you want to look for the largest area of impact from your water bottle or device and the MagHealy. So like Jake was saying, if you've got a bottle that tapers really small at the top and most of the volume is at the bottom, then it's probably better to have it sitting on its side, addressing the larger volume. Or if it's opposite, and you see some of these glasses that have a really wide top and low bottom, so then from the top down is good. Does that make sense?
Like if it's like a martini glass.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't infuse. We're not talking about infusing your martini. Come on, guys.
Yeah. But yeah, there was a question here also. Can you set the bottle on the MagHealy? So that's an interesting question, because I suppose that if you have your MagHealy laying down like this, upside down with the top The bottom facing up, you could just lay your bottle on top of it at that point too. That's an option as well. So, yep.
Yeah, the signal from MagHealy, it really is an omnidirectional, meaning look at a globe, look at it as it being in a big umbrella or a big balloon, I guess you might say, big ball, right? Big sphere, big globe. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so you know, however you set it, it does have a flat side and a rounded side, so one side's more convenient than the other. But
And
yeah.
this is a great question here as well. Can the water be programmed even if it's in a plastic container? And yeah, we demonstrate glass a lot, recommend glass a lot because it's the most pure kind of vessel for the water out there. But yeah, it's not, of course, always convenient to be carrying around glass. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, glass, ceramic is another. Where you're going to see some interference is metallic vessels, whether they're copper. You know, there's some vessels out there, some water vessels that are copper, and that infuses information into the water as well. Because anything metallic is going to absorb the magnetic signal and then reconfigure it into electron flow. So yeah, so you are going to have some shifts. Now, not that it's going to change the frequency, but it could, what we call in the engineering world is negate it or lower its impact.
Yep. Now this next couple slides are from the MagHealy brochure that is available in Backoffice, available download in Academy as well. But it's a great sort of resource to go to as far as talking about why water is so important. So certainly check this one out, and you'll see here, as we mentioned earlier, is some of these glasses that have different shape. The ones shown here are wider at the bottom than the top. And then also, of course, you have the glass pitcher next to it as well, but it's only half full. So most of the water is in the bottom half there.
Mm-hmm. And then also you see the pitcher with a cork in the top, and how far down it is. So the range of these magnetic waves, to be honest, within quantum entanglement are infinite, but they do lose their potency the further away from the transmitter, aka MagHealy. So again, being optimal, all we're trying to do is be most efficient, most optimal, and that means putting the MagHealy as close to the water itself, not in the water, but as close to the water as you can, depending on the vessel. And there is a question about what's the water coherence program for. It's no different than the coherence for our body. You're looking at creating a coherent pattern. Water, wherever it came from, has history, information built into it, and memory. So wherever it came from, it could be chaotic information. When you're creating a coherent pattern within anything, you are training or entraining that entity, whether it's water or a person or an animal or a plant. You're entraining it to two main things. One is flexibility, and the other is adjustability. So we want it to be the water that we drink. When we're looking at putting it into a coherent pattern, we want it to infuse into us and become coherent with us. That meaning that it's going to adjust to us, and we're going to adjust to it, as well as it being have some very distinct purpose. So coherence is a great program, whether you're using it for your body or for your water. Remember what I said? Your body's mostly water anyway, so it's kind of the same.
You use it for both. Drink the water and use the coherence program as well, and the Healy app, and the bioenergetic support. So, yep. Okay, so Ken, yeah, as you see here, there's some pretty cool studies that were done fairly recently on the effectiveness of MagHealy. So, a 50% average increase in well-being and a 33% decrease in concerns. And these studies are available on our website and also available in this particular brochure as well. So it's kind of a cool thing to point to if it's like, well, does this work? Well, here's some results here, some great results. Of course, well beyond this as well. And of course, there's you see here the did you know on the right. I like this. use this for your plants too. You saw the very last program in the MagHealy water activation is for plants. So before you water your plants, go ahead and inform that water for them with those quantum analyzed frequencies and see what kind of results you have too from that.
And water your pets, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
you can give your pets water, give them that, like we talked about the coherent water program. Coherent water means that it's going to be acclimate to whatever you pour it on, the plant, your body, an animal, whatever. So,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
versatile.
we're gonna. All right, go ahead. Were you? I'm gonna switch over to. This wasn't on the agenda, but an email newsletter went out earlier today. For those of you that saw it, just want to point this out. For those of you outside of US and Canada, this doesn't apply. So anybody in Mexico, Colombia, anyone else watching on this call, that as of today, the Healy Watch and the Watch Connector module will no longer be available for purchase in the US or Canada. This will now match the rest of the Americas because the watch was never available in Mexico, was never available in Colombia either. So everybody in the US, everybody in the Americas, Canada, US, Mexico, Colombia, the watch will no longer be available in our markets. And all the details are in the newsletter for anyone that has a watch or questions about what's going to happen in the future. But really, it's just for us to be able to focus on our core products, meaning the MagHealy and the Healy and the apps and the programs associated with those particular devices, plus all the new things we have coming in the future that we've hinted at over the last few months. Tons of new products and in all different areas, all different markets as well that are going to be coming over the next few months as well. So just keep that in mind. Again, any questions, please revert or check the Healy newsletter that's sent out. And then also you can also reach out to our customer care team or tech support team if you do have any further questions that weren't explained in there as well. So, all right, Ken, but I think we have about 10 more minutes here. But I just wanted to close with some updates on live chat. This is very quickly becoming our most popular support channel. We launched this in the US and Canada late last summer. It was launched in Mexico earlier this year, and it's now accounting for over a third of our incoming support requests in the US and Canada, and nearly half in Mexico. So it has caught on very quick, and it continues to grow each month. And really, I mean, it's really no surprise. This is by far the quickest way to get support. Typically we're able to resolve anywhere between 60 to 70% of the issues that are coming via chat in that initial support session. So, almost 3/4 of the topics that come in, if you reach out to our team, we'll be able to resolve it just within that chat session in a matter of minutes, rather than going back and forth with support tickets there as well. Of course, there's certain things that might need to have something, documentation sent in or whatever, that we can't exactly solve right then and there, but we can guide you in the right way to make sure that if you do have to submit a support ticket or communicate via support ticket after the chat, that it's as efficient as possible. And then we also, just in the US and Canada, we have the option for a self-service after hours via our chatbot. I'm going to show a couple of screenshots as far as how that works here in just a minute. And here's the hours. So US and Canada, it's available from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday at each of those individual shops. Mexico is currently 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then Europe just started this recently as well. So their hours are a little bit more limited right now, but they're currently available on the EU shop from 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. So if you're not using live chat and you're still defaulting to submitting tickets via support center, try live chat first. It's very easy to use. We've such great feedback, positive feedback and reviews related to this. Between the hours of 8 to 5, it connects you directly to one of our agents. But after hours, this is something that is still a work in progress. We're enhancing this all the time. Our team here does a great job with this. But after 5 p.m., but then before 8 a.m. Eastern time in the US and Canada shop, you'll see here we have this self-service chatbot. And basically, it starts off with a message explaining our hours. Right now, we have a message about homecoming because that's the big event coming up. And then at the bottom, you see it says, you have reached us after hours when all of our agents are helping other members. Would you like to either try our self-service chatbot or help us or have us create a support ticket for you? So if you don't want to use the chatbot, you want to submit a support ticket via the chat module, you can do that as well. But it's worth at least trying this self-service because it can help with device troubleshooting, software troubleshooting. It can guide you as far as what do you need to do to transfer a device or change your address or change your email. It'll send you documents related to promotions. If you want to know, hey, what are the current promotions in April in the US? You go through the flow and it will actually send you the PDF that has the overview of all those promos that are going on. That is a ton of content there. So here is just one example. So say you go into the chatbot after hours, no agents are available. It says, how can we assist you today? You select hardware. Maybe let's just say you have a problem with your Healy battery. For some reason, it's not charging right. You pick hardware, and then from there, it gives you a list of hardware topics to pick from. Healy battery, Healy Bluetooth, Healy not activated, Healy hardware concerns, Healy Watch, so lots of different options to pick from there. And so if you're having trouble charging your Healy device, you pick Healy battery. And then it says, we want to basically confirm if you've tried the troubleshooting steps yet. And let's say you haven't. You don't know what those troubleshooting steps are for the battery. You say, no, I have not tried those troubleshooting steps. Takes you to the next screen. And what does it do? It actually sends you a link to Healy for Beginners and Beyond that we did that shows the hard reset process and how to do battery troubleshooting. And it begins at minute 39:21. So this is, we had this question on Tech Tip Tuesday this week, 2 days ago. Someone wasn't clear on how to do the hard reset process for their Healy battery. And let's just say it wasn't a Tuesday. Let's just say it was a Wednesday after hours. They need their Healy device. What do? That's why it's worth trying the chatbot just to see what is available there, because this particular person could have gone through these steps, watched the video, and probably had a similar success to what we were able to help with on Tech Tip Tuesday this week.
Yeah, and that person, did what was recommended and then commented back, hey, everything's working, right? I love it when that happens too. But this is another tool where you can go back and get the same result.
Yeah. So it doesn't solve everything. So just keep that in mind as far as the expectations go. You're interacting with a sort of pre-programmed flow, but there's a ton of it. Almost every topic that we have out there, it can give you some sort of information related to it that's helpful. Then if we can't solve it via the chatbot, it'll create a support ticket for you, and somebody from our customer care tech support team will get back with you usually the next business day via a support ticket as well. So just keep that in mind when you're using it. You're not going to hurt anything if you want to just go through the flow and kind of see what information is available via that self-service option. So very cool. And there's,
I always say, no matter what we're doing, try it. You're not going to break it, right? You can try it out in the app, try it out in the chat, try it out. And remember, you can get to the customer support stuff also through your app. It does a lot of cool stuff now.
Yep. Okay, well, one more topic to cover. We actually have one more giveaway at the end. We're going to give away another book. This will just take another 2 or 3 minutes, but also for our members in the US and Canada, may have heard about getting tech support via a Zoom call. This is something we started, I think almost 3 years ago now. We offered tech support via Zoom calls, and we kind of formalized the process a little bit more, and it's incorporated into our support center right now. But these are basically our tech support agents. If we're interacting with you and we have an issue where we know for a fact that we can solve this a lot quicker, if we can see what's going on with your device on your screen, that kind of thing, we'll use this. And then also, if we're going back and forth on a ticket and we can't resolve it, it's like, okay, this is taking too long, or something doesn't seem right, something seems off. Let's get on a Zoom call and kind of just see this, as maybe we can solve this quicker than continuing via the ticketing system. So basically, we recently, in the last month or two, we switched from Zoom to Microsoft Teams, and we switched to a new booking platform. It's built into our system called Zoho Bookings. But these, again, it's something that our team, as of right now, you can't schedule one, but every day our tech support team is doing these video calls for tech support with our members and customers out there. And they're, again, basically used in situations where we know it'll be more efficient to interact via this particular Zoom call. And here's, for those of you that haven't experienced one of these, or, I mean, it's probably a good thing if you haven't had to have one of these tech support calls before, because that means your device is working properly. But here's what they look like now. So if even actually also within live chat as well, if we're chatting with you and we're like, hey, let's hop on to a Microsoft Teams video call to get this resolved, we can send you this booking link via the live chat as well. It's not just within the support center that we're doing this, but you basically get the booking link, you come to a screen like this, 30-minute call with whatever agent that you're working with at that time. You pick a date and a time that's available, that our agent is available, that also works for your own schedule. And then you would click book appointment. And then after you do that, it asks for your name, email, contact number, and support center ticket number if you have one of those available. And then once you do that, it's going to say, okay, great, appointment is confirmed with your tech support agent on this date and time. It has a link to join the meeting. So from there, you see there's an option you can add it to your calendar so you don't miss it. Or you also get an email confirmation too of your booking of the appointment coming up with the meeting link as well. So basically, at that particular time, at that date and time, you would just use this link, click on the link, it opens up the Microsoft Teams window, and then you'll be connected directly to our tech support team, or the person on our tech support team that was assisting you on that particular topic. And usually as we do these every day, and we're able to typically you're able to resolve around 60 to 70% of issues via these Zoom calls. Sometimes if it's something that needs an actual hardware replacement, we can't, of course, fix that on the call, but we can confirm via the call that it is related to hardware and it does need to be replaced. So it's just another great tool that we have available here for US and Canada. And it could be something that is eventually rolled out in other markets around the world as well.
I see. We wind up often because there's a huge demand, and people, I think in the Americas, are super creative. They come up with new ways to do this technology and use this technology that we have to find solutions for. And Healy adapts. And I'm telling you that the flow of tools that have happened over just the last year is incredible. So I'm super grateful for all the things Healy's doing.
All right, Ken, how about we do one more giveaway? How's that sound?
Let's do it.
One more shot here to close the call. So as those of you that were on earlier too, put it in the chat, hashtag cosmic growth. I'm going to do the same thing here. Move my cursor around, leave it still. And I'm going to come back to the screen. We'll do 10 seconds this time. We'll do a 10-second countdown. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we have Gregory Gray has won the Eternal Golden Braid book. So Gregory, if you could message either me or our tech support agent, Anthony, or anything, you want to reach out to Gregory here just to get his contact info, and we will get a book on the way to you soon. Okay. All
Nice.
right. Well, sorry, go ahead, Ken.
Just a nice job. Congratulations, Gregory.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen at this point. So yeah, thank you everybody so much for joining us. We love doing these calls. We try to put together, cram as much content into an hour as possible. We usually recently have not been able to fit it into an hour, but there's just so much that is going on here at Healy World. And of course, you can always reference this recording and review it, each of the different segments on our Healy World Americas channel on YouTube. That's at HealyAmericas.com. It takes you straight to that page there. And this recording typically is up there within 48 hours or within 2 business days. So by Monday next week, you should see this up there, possibly even tomorrow, we'll see. But thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned for our Tech Tip Tuesday. Every Tuesday night, we talk about that a lot on this call because some of these things they come up every week. For those of you that haven't joined us for Tech Tip Tuesday, you can ask any question you want in the chat there. We don't have an agenda. Our agenda is what you give us in the chat, and we answer those questions live on the call. Those are a lot of fun as well. So if you haven't joined for one of those before, check one out on one of these upcoming Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. And that one's to join. You just go to HealyTTT.com. And then also you can look at our entire events calendar, including What's Up Wednesday, Frequencies and Friends, Momentum Monday, Tech Tip Tuesday, all of our calls. Our calendar is at HealyAmericasEvents.com as well. So again, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you so much, Ken, as always. Thank you, Anthony, for helping in the chat. And we will see you all soon. Thank you, everyone.
Nice job, Jake. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
Guys, for being here, audience. Many blessings.
Thank you.